So today we're starting a new chapter 7, okay? And this is Angles of Polygons. So we've been talking about triangles while we were doing chapter 5. So now we're moving on to just different types of polygons. Okay? Today we're going to talk about the interior, like the summation of the interior angles. Okay? How much was a total of the interior angles of a triangle? What is it? 180, right? Okay. So today we're going to learn what the totals are of multiple different, how you can calculate any polygon. Okay? So let's jump into it. The theorem is 7.1 polygon interior angles theorem. And basically what this says is they give us this formula, which says an n-gon, where n is the number of sides. So if it's 10-sided, it would be a 10-gon. Or 20 sides, 20-gon type of thing. Just saying however many number of sides. The formula is n minus 2 times 180. All right, so let's test for a triangle just so you can see. You don't have to write this down. But we said a triangle equals 180. So if I do n minus 2 and times 180, and what am I going to plug in for n on a triangle? Yeah, because n is the number of sides. How many sides does a triangle have? 3. Okay, so I'm going to say 3 minus 2 times 180. Class, what do you get when you do 3 minus 2 times 180? 180. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 times 180 is 180. How much did we say the interior angle of a triangle equals? 180. So you see, that's how we calculate it. Okay, with this formula. So let's move on and let's calculate for other ones. So our chart here, we have the number of sides. We have the classification of the polygon, so it's a triangle. And then we have the sum of the interior angles, which we use this formula. We already said this one is 180 degrees. And I forgot to ask, where's the interior angles located on a polygon?
On the inside.
The inside, right? All of the angles inside. Add them together, and that's the sum of them. Okay. So let's solve for a quadrilateral. What am I going to plug in for n on a quadrilateral? 4, because n is the number of sides, and 4 minus 2 times 180. And what does that give you? 360. So Angel, the first one, pentagon, what'd you get? All right, Lucas, help him out. What'd you get for pentagon? 540. Jules, next one. Hexagon. So 720. Luis, next one. 900. Brady, octagon.
1080.
1080. Hernan, the nonagon. 1260. Okay. And then Mandy, the decagon. 1440. All right, does anybody notice a pattern with each of these going down each one? So the pattern is each one adds by 180. 180 plus 180 is 360. 360 plus 540, plus 180 is 540. 540 plus 180 is 720, and so on. Okay? Each one adds by 180. So that tells us on a polygon, every time it adds another side, it adds 180 degrees on the interior, the summation of the interior angles. All right? So let's do some examples. Number 1, find the sum of the measure of the interior angles of a 14-gon. Okay? So if we're finding the sum of the measures, we're going to use this formula, which gives us the sum. Okay? N minus 2 times 180 gives us the sum of it. So we work it just like you did for filling out that chart. So what am I going to plug in for n? 14. Because it's a 14-gon, meaning it has 14 sides. So it's 14 minus 2 times 180. And Shelby, tell me what you get with that one. 2,160. Do y'all agree, class?
Yes.
Okay, we have a second. So it's good. All right, next. The sum of the measures of the interior angles is given. classify the polygon by the number of sides. So they told me here how much is the total of the interior. But what we need to find is the number of sides and then classify it. So we're going to use the same formula. We're going to say n minus 2 times 180 equals the sum. But do we know the sum? Do we know the n? No. So you can, if you want to, you can plug in x, but it's already a variable. So I'm going to leave it as just n. Okay? But if you like to solve for x better than n, you plug in whatever letter you want. But I'm just going to leave it as n minus 2 times 180. Do we know the sum, though? What is the sum? 2,520. Okay? So now what we do is we solve for n. So make note of that. Once you get here, you're going to solve for n. Meaning I need to get n completely by itself. So draw my line. I always want to move the number first that's not directly connected with n, that's not next, the one farthest from it. So which number do I need to move away from first?
180.
The 180. Does anybody know how we're going to move that 180 to the other side?
Divided.
How do you know divide?
Because it has a multiplying symbol in front of it.
Good. Because it's times 180. It's multiplying. So we have to do opposite. We divide by 180. That way those go away. And divide by 180.
14.
So I'm going to bring my n minus 2 down. I don't need the parentheses anymore because the times 180 is gone. And I heard 2520 divided by 180 is 14. And then what's the last step, class? Add 2. To get that 2 to the other side.
16.
N equals 16. Is that the answer, though? No. Because what did it say? It says that it wants to do what to the polygon? Classify it, okay? So that means we got to give it its name. Does anybody know what it's going to be? 16 gone, right? So we're going to say 16 dash gone. Okay. If we had got n equals 4, what would we have called it? A quadrilateral, okay? If it had been 8, it'd been what?
Octagon.
An octagon, okay? So you see that, like 3 through 10, they have specific names for them. 11 and more, you're going to just put the number dash gone. All right, so nothing to remember there. In order to find x, I need to know what's the sum of all the interior, right? So remember when we did it for triangles? If we knew 2 of them, but we're missing the third one, remember we just add them together, subtract from 180? Okay. Same thing here. You can add them together. If you're just missing one number, you can add them together and just subtract from whatever the sum is. Okay. But I'm going to show you the algebraic way to do it. So the sum of this is we find n minus 2 times 180 equals the sum. What am I plugging in for n here, Mateo? Huh? What's the n on this one? What do we plug in on this one? Okay, what does n represent? The number of sides, yep. So how many sides do we have? 4. So that's what we're going to plug in. You just count up the sides and plug it in. Okay. So 4 minus 2 times 180. And Roman, what do you get when you do that? $360. Okay. You also have it on your chart too. Now, if it's quadrilateral, you can go straight to. That's why we filled out the chart, just to make it a little easier. Okay. But I just wanted you to see, if you don't have your chart, that's how you do it. You find the total, the sum. So now I'm going to take all the ones. So we found the sum. Now we're going to say Add them all together. The x, the 101, 68, and the 92. X, 101, 68 plus 92. And it's all going to equal how much, class? What does all those add up to equal inside? What's the sum of the interior? We just found it.
360.
360. Okay, so they all have to add up to equal 360. Okay, that's the sum of the interior angles. X plus 101 plus 68 plus 92 equals 360. Now we solve for x. So what is my first step here, Noah, to solve for x?
Add up all the numbers that are x.
Okay, what do we call that? Do you remember? Anybody remember what that's called? When we add up all those numbers that are alike?
Combining like terms.
Combining like terms, okay? So I have an x, 101, 68, 92. So that's going to be x plus, Angie, what does the 101, 68, 92 add up to equal? So 261 equals 360. And then Monica, what's the last step here? So we got to subtract the 261 from both sides. Chris, what do you get when you do that? 99? Does everybody agree? 99?
Yes.
We found x, so that's it on that one.